treasure gold.
Morning, everyone. Super grateful to be here. Very excited. Been part of the blockchain jungle team. Seen how this has all come to fulfillment. It's been great to see. I typically give talks for developers. I mainly focus on giving value to developers, helping them come up to speed with the demands of the market and emerging technologies. My name is Bejarano. I'm the founder of Dojo Coding. And my life changed when I started to dive in deep in the rabbit holes of blockchain development, open source software. It changed my life. I had a bunch of different experiences traveling abroad. And Dojo Coding is my way to give back to the community and help other people as well connect with global opportunities. And I found a very interesting insight throughout the past few years of how developer community is an intentional process, right? Onboarding developers into emerging tech is a very intentional process, and that's going to be my talk for today. I've been a developer relations engineer as well. I worked at the Startnet Foundation, so I've been pretty deep in how these foundations think, how they operate, and how they try to attract developers to actually use their technology and infrastructure. I like to think that I empower Latin American developers to fuel the global tech economy. It's not just blockchain. Dojo Coding has evolved. We spanned all the way from academy, education, upskilling in AI technologies, AI engineering, Web3 development, crypto. We were just in Geneva around 3 weeks ago, closing a partnership with the OQI to bring quantum computing education as well to Latin America. There's a bunch of opportunities, but you have to go deep in the rabbit holes of just being super specialized in these different paradigms of programming. We've organized massive hackathons, we've organized startup houses, always looking to find the gems of talent which truly deserve the best of opportunities. We've had members of the Dojo Coding community travel for their first time in their lives to Thailand, to Brussels, Argentina, Denver, Portugal, all over the place. And it's really a testament to the quality of talent that we have here in Costa Rica. I'm a proud Costa Rican. Everywhere I fly, it's the first thing I say. People love this country, and people love the talent here because it's for sure world class. So again, typically I speak directly to the developers, kind of like give them the blueprint, give them tips, how to truly break through in this very competitive industry. Right now, developers have to take that extra mile to actually stand out. But I'm going to speak about more from the enterprise side. What enterprises, what foundations, what companies need to do to actually activate talent. So tech companies really aren't short on ideas or capital. They're short on activated talent. There's billions in grants, unclaimed or underutilized. These foundations have massive treasuries waiting to be deployed, and that's their number one challenge. How to properly get the best ROI on their tokens, on their funds to actually build value on their network. There's thousands of developers joining forums, but they're never actually shipping, they're never actually properly activated. And recruitment, many times, it's reduced to job posts or just agencies instead of actual structured pipelines, which is what we focus here in Dojo Coding. Everyone focuses on just attracting developers, but no one really focuses on what's next, right? What's next in the pipeline, clarity for developers, what they should be building, what they should be looking forward to, what they should be studying. There's a big bottleneck there. This graph is from Electric Capital. It's a developer report that they launch every single year. And this is the developer activity in the crypto ecosystem. And as you can see, not really that big, right? It's grown, it's been very stable, and actually in the past few months, it's going down. This graph tends to go along the lines with the market sentiment, of course, but it's just it's an example of how there's still a very big problem to be solved in actual talent pipelines to adopt new technologies. So there's a paradox. The title of this presentation is called Centralizing Talent to Decentralize the Future. So yes, we talk about decentralization. It's a buzzword, or not a buzzword, but we've been speaking about it several times throughout this conference. But the talent systems remain broken. That's where the paradox is. Without centralized infrastructure for onboarding and measuring developers, companies fragment instead of scale. These foundations, they truly kill for actual talent, for actual use cases and products that are using their technology. And that's what Dojo Coding solves. Developer relations dev role is essentially a role where you help developers go throughout this pipeline, help them build, help them understand the technology. It's not just marketing. Dev role has several verticals. Many people think it's just marketing or evangelism or advocacy, developer advocate. But it's truly, I like to think about it like growth operations. It's having a structured system. And this is what we preach here in Dojo Coding. We call it the AAA funnel. First stage, acquisition. Here you focus on giving visibility to your technology, giving visibility to the benefits, to the differences, what makes your tech stack stand out, and also why should these developers even care? Why should they have intentions on building with your tech? So essentially the goal of this first stage is to get devs to care. Devs are human, right? We're not robots. People need to care about what they're building to actually have something of value. That's where the next stage comes in, activation. Having a clear onboarding funnel, having clear metrics and guides to get developers to ship, right? It's essentially getting developers to actually build valuable stuff. I'll go into a pyramid that helps this exact stage on the different perks or help that devs can have. And of course, the last stage is acceleration. This is where support, funding comes in to actually activate, to actually incentivize, to accelerate, to incubate these devs and actually get them to stay. The Web3 landscape is very competitive. There's a very short supply of talent that's truly able to build product that gets to production, that gets to mainnet. And so these devs, they have a bunch of opportunities. All foundations are fighting for them. So it's important to have very clear support systems for these devs to actually thrive in. So in a very simple map, the builder journey is the following. First, it's awareness. Then you orient them. They get their first win. This is critical when it comes to building developer community. Developers need a first win to get that dopamine, to feel like they actually did something. This first win is critical, and it's important to have it very early on in the journey. If not, they're going to leave. This first win helps them build portfolio. It gives them a sense of meaning. Connections is critical, getting people to form teams, to share knowledge. After you form a team, of course, there needs to be clarity on how do you get funding to actually get your product to become an actual thing, an actual tangible and living concept. That's where the funding comes in, product, and then users, of course. If there's no users, if there's no one using any of the software that we're building, then there's really no point to it. And of course, that's why infrastructure companies such as blockchains, these foundations, different Web2 companies all have these pain points. They need product that uses their infra that then brings users. And most companies only handle 2 of these steps. But Dojo Coding aims to handle the whole entire path. This is a pretty cool pyramid that we also like to think about when it comes to enabling devs to actually build stuff, but most importantly, to get them to stay, right? It's about retention, it's about success. The base of the pyramid is docs, documentation. All tech stacks need very good documentation, legible, clear, adapted for the AI era, being able to load it up into your LLM and have it, be able to ingest everything properly. Docs is essentially the minimum that you can have. A lot of companies think that just because you have some very organized and clean documentation that the developers will magically come and use your stuff. That's very few companies have that privilege. So what else can you do? What else can you do to get developers to actually have success and stay in your ecosystem and use your tech? Playbooks, have guided projects. What comes next? Mentors. Having clear mentorship opportunities for these developers is critical, not just because of the actual education side, but more so on the human support. That human support, that human connection is critical, and that takes us to the next layer, which is cohorts, peer learning. People like to learn in groups. People like to learn together, to grow together, to find success together. That's why cohorts are so important. And once you find those very unique groups that have potential to take it to the next step, that's where incubation comes in, giving support to these startups. And then, of course, the wrappers to actually lock these teams into your infrastructure and get that vendor lock-in. From Dojo Coding, we've had several teams, that met within the community and now are finding tremendous success. Trustless Work is a great example. Bytebeast, Numos, they're going to be pitching at the Startup House or at the Startup World Cup at 11 or 1 p.m. These are amazing opportunities, but it all comes down from the bottom, right? These are talent that came together, met like-minded individuals, formed relationships, started learning new technologies together, and now they're suddenly evangelists of the tech stacks that they're using. That's what these companies truly need to work for and need. Again, Dojo Coding is infrastructure for talent. We focus on software development talent, and so we like to think about flywheels, right? How can you build flywheels so these ecosystems become self-sustaining? If not, you just have a leaky pipe where you constantly have to have new money invested, more marketing, more people coming in, and everyone leaves. But when you have a flywheel, the value stays within what you're building. It all starts with community, and then you have to give challenges, bounties, hackathons, capture the flags. These types of initiatives are ways to activate talent to do something in a short period of time, and it's exciting, it's fun. People enjoy hackathons. That's where challenges comes in. Participating in these hackathons, of course, gives you credentials, right? You're building in public, you're learning new things, you're exposing yourself. From the practical side for developers, it's a way of personal branding. It's really important, right, to give visibility in the types of activities that you're participating in, how consistently you are in learning new things, upskilling, trying to stay a competitive person. This is very valuable for companies. And of course, it's just giving the opportunity for people to get new credentials. These credentials lead to credibility. Credibility leads to capital. Capital leads to more talent. Then you can create more content, and that content will bring more community. The goal is to have the community itself become the evangelist for your technology, and everything else will come together. So this is how ecosystems truly become self-sustaining. Every builder becomes a magnet for the next. So the truth is, most DevRel programs that I've seen fail because of these things. First, there's no repeatable onboarding. Onboarding has to be automated, has to be clear, has to be easy, simple, a good experience. You need to have that next step be super clear. If not, people just kind of like lose their track, right? Like, what, I don't even know what to do next, and then they lose track of everything, and then they fall out the pipeline. You have to focus on outcomes. Most programs focus on vanity metrics. How many developers participate in this hackathon? Right? How many people registered for this webinar? Those are vanity metrics, right? It's not just volume. It's not just bluff metrics. It's actual outcomes. How many projects were built? How many pitches were made? How many teams were formed? How many relationships were built? How many proofs of concepts were shared around, right? These are actual outcomes that are not always easy to measure. One-off events is another pain point in the industry. A lot of companies think that they'll organize an event and that's going to solve everything, but you need clear follow-ups after that, right? People will come, they'll be very interested, and if you're not following up with that talent, what's next, right? What's next after a hackathon? This was a very common question yesterday while we were at the hackathon room, right? Like, what comes next after a hackathon? Like, what do I have to be focused on? What can I do to keep the ball rolling, right? These hackathons give you a sense of fulfillment because you're working very hard to build something with the team. Hackathon ends, maybe you win a prize, maybe you don't, but what's next, right? Like, these things are very important for successful programs, for developer relations and onboarding. And of course, it all comes down to data, right? We need connected data, we need consistent data, verifiable. It's crucial. So this is where the Dojo model comes in. Again, we believe that centralized talent infrastructure will lead to high-performing technical teams because it naturally, the best and most hungry and most adapted talent, those will surge to the top. Those are the ones that will find the best opportunities. So essentially, we're building an operating system for developers to actually find these opportunities. We call it the Dojo OS. It's basically a talent operating system. We have programs, we have our data layer, we have a Dojo score to be able to measure the talent in our ecosystem, to be able to identify, what are the strengths of these people, where do these devs truly want to specialize, and with all that data, then we can truly provide the best opportunities for both companies and also for them. So essentially, we believe that transforming developers into builders is critical, but also transforming builders into founders. Not all developers want to be founders, but the reality of the industry is, and where it's headed, is that every day, every week that passes, people need to think and operate like founders. It's becoming an incredibly competitive industry. Code is being commoditized, and we need to stand out. We need to broaden our skill sets. We need to become M-shaped professionals. And so operating like a founder, your lifestyle, your professional roadmap, this is critical. So this is a mindset that we try to instill in the talent in our community, and that's why it stands out so much, and that's why we've found so much success with the foundations that we've been collaborating with. Here's an example. With the Starting Foundation, super structured approach. Essentially, it's having regional activations. Around a month and a half ago, we did one in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, where we onboarded 600 developers for a hackathon that they were doing. So what we did was organize a boot camp that would then funnel into a hackathon, that would then funnel into a startup house for the best teams. And so we did a direct response marketing campaign targeted for Buenos Aires, and it was a total success. We got a bunch of Argentinian developers super interested in this new technology because, again, our communication is based on, what are they going to get out of this? What are the benefits? Why should they spend their time and effort learning this new tech and try to build a new use case? And so from this activation, we had several teams win a bunch of prizes from this global hackathon. We had 2 Argentinian teams be invited to a startup house where they will participate and possibly receive a seed grant, which is $25,000 from the Starting Foundation, and then they will be introduced to more venture capital firms or funds and different acceleration programs. So it's a matter of having measurable impact, having startups, and finding funded projects. At least that's for this type of activation that we had. That was our outcome, right? It wasn't just, hey guys, we need 500 developers to sign in and register on this program. No, we need this amount of projects and actual teams formed and funded and funneled projects that will look for funding in this later stage of the pipeline. So this kind of proves our thesis, right? When you centralize onboarding, companies tend to grow organically. Because now there's a flywheel effect going on in Argentina. Now they're telling their friends what they're doing. They're developer friends. Now they're finding new co-founders. It's great because we build that space where people come together, and maybe your friends from high school or university don't have that same itch to build new tech and become founders. You meet them in the dojo. Again, trustless work I mentioned earlier. Joel, amazing guy, excellent example of how just a structured pipeline will facilitate the opportunities that you can find. Joel, he's a very talented developer. He joined our community around a year and a half ago, and he was a Web 2 developer, normal software developer, lurking in LinkedIn, but never really dived into blockchain development because it's so abstract, a little complicated. What was the journey? He saw an ad of ours, joined the boot camp. We got him his first win, shipped a smart contract. We matched him with some mentors. He started meeting people, forming community. He won a hackathon. And now Joel, he's one of the founders of Trustless Work. They're building payment escrows for stable coins on Stellar. They had an investment from Draper. Their startup is worth several 7 figures. And now they hire their talent as well from the Dojo coding community. It's a flywheel. Again, that's what we're looking to build. It's sustainable ecosystems. Every time I go to conferences abroad, I validate the same thesis that we've had since the beginning. Latin America is an incredible hub for talent. It's an ideal launchpad for technical people. And the world is starting to look here. The world is starting to look here. People are aware that builders are growing. There's more hunger for startups. There's a lot of problems to be solved through technology. And that's why we are betting on LATAM. There's a massive developer population hungry for opportunity. There's a very good time zone alignment as well with global teams. Generally, there's a lower cost per activation. There's a high cultural drive for open source collaboration. One of our strong pillars, our ethos, open source software is critical for knowledge sharing, building in public, not just on a professional strategical level for your portfolio and curriculum, but it's also a way of giving back to the tech ecosystem. There's an untapped creative potential. And of course, in the agentic era, creativity is what us humans truly thrive on, and that's what we have to leverage. The reason why Dojo Coding found success very early on is because we met where the talent is. Most developer relation programs in the crypto niche only target crypto Twitter, the 1%. I've traveled to many conferences around the world, and every time I go, I see the same people. I always saw the same people, and that's the insight that I got. I was in crypto Twitter, I always meet the same people, but my friends didn't really know what's going on. It's not too intuitive, it's not too easy to find out the opportunities that exist for talent that specializes in these things. And so that's what we did, right? We started to reach the 99%, direct response marketing funnels, targeted regional campaigns across Latin America, partnerships with universities and developer communities, and of course, Web3 transition systems. So what do I mean with direct response marketing funnels? We run a lot of ads on Instagram. I imagine a lot of you have seen our ads. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google. It's a matter of breaking out the bubble. This might seem obvious, but for people deep in this tech ecosystem, they kind of forget that, not everyone is up to date with what's going on in crypto Twitter. It's a bubble. It's a really strong bubble, and that's what we're looking to pop. So we had a starting campaign in May. We reached around 250,000 developers. We had a bunch of impressions, and we had a bunch of conversions of developers actually taking action and using their technology. Very, very high performance marketing funnels, and this is why foundations love to work with us. So it's essentially taking them from attention to activation, right? A developer sees an ad, maybe they see a post. Not that just they click on the ad, but they enter a guided system, right? They go through a funnel, they go through an AI-assisted onboarding, then they have a challenge, maybe there's a hackathon going on, then they can enter into a bootcamp, get some structured educational content, a track, and then they enter a network where they will find a bunch of different opportunities depending on what you're looking for. So we like to focus on metrics that actually matter. What's your time to first contribution, right? How long it took you to write some code and contribute to one of the projects in the community, or to an open source repository in the network or in the ecosystem that you're trying to specialize in, right? What's the retention rate? 30 day, 60 day, 90 day? Are builders who enter now still working on the tech stack that you proposed to them 90 days later? Are they pivoting? Why are they pivoting? But most importantly, are they still actively building and learning? What's the grant conversion rate, right? We meet with a lot of foundations to help place their funds and allocate it to teams who will actually ship. But so for teams that we form and bring these opportunities to, what percentage of them actually get this funding and why? And of course, our most important metric, the average cost per activated developer. Critical. It's not just a matter of getting developers to find out about what you build or the opportunities, but it's getting them to take action and stay and connect. So we have a data layer for tech companies that want to partner with us. We give them centralized dashboards. We give them real-time progression tracking. And of course, in the AI era, agents is what allow us to truly scale and automate all this operational complexity, which a few years back would have been impossible. So agentic-driven matching for jobs, for your co-founders, matching with grant opportunities, funding for projects. The AI era is truly a beauty. So for foundations, yes, we offer co-onboarding tracks. We have specific bounties. We just did one with the Tether wallet development kit. Super excited to keep working with them. We offer region-specific activations. The reason why we went to Buenos Aires is because right now there's DevConnect going on, huge developer conference in the Ethereum ecosystem, around 10,000 developers over there, and starting it, wanted to get the ball rolling even before they went, which is right now. We did this activation a few months back, so they wanted specifically Argentina to activate on starting the technology, so that's what we offered. And of course, through all the data that we collect, that we help people build their credibility, build their curriculum, we have verified talent through this score that we're building. So to sum it all up, tech companies that are more so on tooling and infrastructure really need two things to scale. First, you need infrastructure for products. All these foundations have blockchains, but then you need infrastructure for talent. Most already have number one, almost no one has number two. And that's what we're doing here at Dojo Coding. The Dojo OS is the operating system for developer talent. We build infrastructure for talent. We acquire talent. We build them up. We help them. We connect them. And we deploy and activate. That's what Dojo Coding does. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. We believe that to find true freedom and to change the direction of your career, we all have the power to do so through innovation. And that's our motto. Thank you, everyone. Here you can find the QR to dojocoding.io. We're doing a soft launch for the operating system that we've been building for a few months now. And thank you.
my sorrow into treasure gold.